Hey, this is day 2 of 28 songs later. I'm going to do one song a day for the entire month of February, which is 28 songs, in case you didn't figure that out. I explained already in the first video like the whole purpose of this and why I'm doing it and my own experience and blah blah, so go watch that if you want to know all that stuff. But for now I'm just going to jump straight into what we're doing for day 2. So I started about 5 o'clock, it's now just after midnight. Originally went down kind of a lot of wrong roads, nothing really went anywhere, everything was kind of crappy. Nothing was really happening, you know, it was just kind of looking like I wasn't really even going to have anything. And then I went through an old folder of mine of old Ableton files that I've never used for various reasons, rather than just never finished, just stuff I was messing around with someday. And I found an old piece I did for a band I was a part of for a short while that never really came to fruition, which was like a live kind of chiptune idea. So this was just like 4 bars, and I screwed around with it a little bit, and then I had a drum and bass beat, and it actually really came together and it started to sound quite good, and I'm really happy with this one so far. So kind of added some more onto that, added a little breakdown, you know, some love stuff, and just expanded on that, wrote it chronologically. So there's a bit to it. Most of it's all using free 8-bit VSTs, I'll show you what those are. But also the bassist from a local Dublin band, Wizard Fist, has sent me some bass parts that he's recorded for the song. So I finished the basic structure of the song, I sent him the files, and then he's recorded all the bass parts, just some live bass. So it sounds pretty good. Some of it's kind of a bit out of time, there's a couple of bits that don't fit, but I'm going to have a look at that now, fiddle with that and see what I can do, and we'll see if we can actually use some of this bass. So I'll show you that in a second. I'll switch over to the computer and we can see what's up. Here we are, this is the song. So I'm going to start out just talking about what I started with and then proceed through bits of the song, talk about a couple of VSTs, about drum equalization, and then the bass. So basically the first thing I started out with was, I can just find that solo, take that off there, yeah. I just started out with these 4 bars at the start, you can hear those in the background. Yeah. So literally they're all one VST, it's called Peach, it's free, you can just download it, it's a set of VSTs, 8-bit, styled VSTs, some are like glitch effects and stuff like that, and then there's a couple of actual instrument VSTs in there, like Peach, which is a wavetable NES sampled synth that just uses sounds from old games. They're all pretty much labeled with like Metroid's names or whatever, you know, whatever games they're kind of reminiscent of. Then there's another one called Triforce I haven't used in this, but it's also very, very good for bass if you want to use an 8-bit synth for bass, which really you can use anything for bass if it's going to be really sub stuff, because you know you want to keep it as simple as possible, you don't really want to complicate your sub. So anyway, those synths go on for a while, really. You can listen to the song, I don't need to play it to you. But then more synths come in. This is another synth called Basic 64. This is also free, and it's a SID styled, for the Commodore 64 SID chip, a SID styled VST. So pretty much this sound is basically, for the sounds I use, basically presets that I then adjusted a tiny bit to suit. But this is a very, very good VST. You can get a lot of cool sounds out of it, a lot of cool old retro sounds, and I like it quite a lot, especially because I really like the Commodore 64 sound. I've always loved it since I was a kid. So then there's that kind of breakdown. I'm just going to mute the guitar because I don't want to talk about it yet. This bit here. And then the drums just kind of filter in. That's kind of a normal thing, it's not just automation here. Ooh, there's a lot of stuff there. There it is. Yeah, you see the filter. Anyway, after that, it's kind of the main meat of the song, which is this area. Yeah, where it all gets happy and your fist pumping and you're in the air and yeah, everything. So then there's just like this pad kind of carries the song upwards in the background. Yeah, it does all those sounds. And the kind of floaty thing, I take all of the ping pong delay, which I'm really a bastard for using. I use way too much ping pong delay. It's my solution to every problem. So then the song goes on as more of a breakdowny bit, and then after that we get to this bit, the only other really interesting thing I was talking about before the drums and the bass. This guitar I sampled. Literally, this is just a sample taken off a website called freesound.org. You can just sign up to that, it's free, it doesn't cost anything. I don't think they even send you a confirmation email, you can just log in. And you can get loads of open source free sounds off there, and they're really, really good. Like you can make synths with samplers off it, you can get like speeches and people playing instruments. You also get loads of recordings of people recording cars passing by and loads of other crap that clogs your search results. But literally all I did to find this was I just typed in C major and I just looked through all of the results, and I just kept going until I found one I liked, and then I just took down the sample, cut it into bits, warped it a bit using this at the bottom. I'm not going to tell you how to warp stuff. You can ask me if you want, but there's plenty of tutorials out there that use warp points. And just turned it into something that followed what I wanted. And then all I really did to affect it was I added some... I filtered all the low end out because I didn't want any of the low end off the guitar, and then I added some equalization using ozone and a tiny bit of ping pong delay. As I previously said, I used way too much. So the drums then, people can ask me about the snare. The snare is really, how I do my snares is I layer 3 snares. You use a mid snare, which is kind of the bit you hear really, you know, the kind of punch. And then you add a bottom end to your snare. I'm not even sure if you'll be able to hear this one, but it's like boom, boom, boom. You want, like, it's almost like a tom, like a really low tom. So then you use one of those, and then you get a snare with a really nice high end. So kind of like noisy, well, more like a clap even. So the thing is when you're looking for these, you're just looking for those characteristics in the 3, look for them separately. But afterwards, what you want to do then is you want to filter off all the elements that you don't want, because that keeps your sound clean, and when you layer the snares, they'll still sound good. So for your high snare, you'll filter off pretty much everything below like 600 or so, depending on what you want to do. Sometimes you filter off everything below 1,000, depending on what snares you're using, but just mess with it. You can just try this around, figure it out. Your bottom snare, you filter off all of the high end, and then for your mid snare, you filter off a bunch of the low end. Just get rid of everything really. Usually I might filter off the high end on my mid snare as well, but this one I quite like the high end on it, so I kept it. That's pretty much all for the drums. The bass drum really isn't that complicated either. There's the EQ line for it. There's just some compression on it after that. So then the bass line. The bass was sent to me. Basically the guy had pretty much the whole song complete except all of the kind of minor details like little drum fills and hi-hats and stuff like that. So he could listen to it and play along. So he sent me a huge WAV file, and I didn't use all of it. I just used the stuff I liked. So, and then, you know, screwed it around. Now, most of the work was just, again, in here with warp points. You can't see them now because I've consolidated the files. But it was with warp points and stretching and making everything kind of fit. Basically quantizing, but doing it manually and kind of making it sound how I wanted to. Some of it I actually transposed and stuff to add some notes that he didn't play that I wanted. And then really I just used like some loops and stuff he made and just put them in parts. And then I added a bunch of reverb because it sounded really out of place. Bit more ping pong delay. Filtered off a bunch of the high end because it's a bass. I wanted still a bit of that character though. I still wanted a bit of the, you know, the actual kind of high, mid kind of the bass. So then I laid the whole thing in. I'm not going to play the song, I mean you can hear that, there'll be a link down below. So I'm pretty happy with this one. This one turned out, you know, it's cheerful, it's nice drum bass. I really like drum bass. I'm a big fan of drum bass and Hospital Records, have been for years. Pretty love all that stuff. So this really was pretty much right up my alley, and even though it's written in C major, which, you know, a lot of people are going to make fun of me of, I really like it. Happy with day 2, went a lot better than day 1. So I'm pretty much going to finish the video here. I don't really see a reason to go back to my face. See you in day 3. Don't have any ideas for it now, but I'm probably going to keep dredging through old Ableton files like I have been doing. Goodbye.